Let's work on the arm. So first thing, Control 2 to add a subdivision, shaded auto smooth, and now it's looking very boring. So let's go in here, and the first thing I want to do, I don't want it as sharp. I actually want it, I like this roundness that we've got in this character. So I'm going to keep that. So I'm just going to go 3, press I for an inset, and then maybe let's go here, press E again. And then now here's a new, just press E again just to create a loop. And then now here's a new command that we're going to learn, ES. So what ES does is, if you press E, let me just show you from a different angle. ES, now we can scale it flat like that. And then we press E again. And I'm just going to have it like that. And then I again. It's just to create this nice circle here. And then R. And then let's bevel this. So just another thing, if you bevel something, for example, let me alt select this edge loop. If I'm close here, you'll see it bevels it. The bevel is quite large, but if I'm far away, it's a much finer movement. So the further away you are, the finer your control is. It's just something to keep in mind. So let's bevel this. Actually not, no, I don't want to do that. Let's add another loop here. And another loop there. And then alt select. And then I'm going to alt select this one, Control B. And then I'm going to, still with it selected, hold my mouse. And I'm just going to create this sort of shape here. And then let's go to the bottom here. And then we bring this down here. And then I'm going to select this one. And this one. And this one. And I'm going to bevel them. And then bring my mouse down so I only have one bevel. Alt E. Extrude along the normals, extrude them inwards like that, and let's see what we've got here. Okay, this is fine. And then I'm just going to clean this up and make it Control B. So now you just do that with everyone. Control L for a loop in the middle, or Control R for a loop in the middle, and then just Control B to bevel them so we get sharp roundings like that. This one we can actually just move, so GG, move that one down. Control B, Control R, and then Control B for the loop here. And then let's put them in the middle as well. And I think we need one more here. Control B. I think that's fine for the arms. Let's maybe bring them down a bit. To up there, I think, because they're a bit. Let's make them longer. Let's see what we've got here. We've got. Shade that smooth as well. Okay, so that's basically what we've got for the arms. Now we need to work on the hands. Okay, I've just selected all the hand elements, and I'm just going to press G to bring them down. Go to 1. And just bring them down there. And then maybe just rotate them a bit. Go to 3, let's see where we are. Okay, we just need to bring them over here. Okay, now we can work on the hands. I'm not going to do too much to the hands. Just Control 2 to add a subdivision, shade auto smooth. Go in here, add a loop there at the top. add a loop here at the bottom, and I think we can just leave it like that. Okay, and these, we've already got a subdivision. I'm going to make it 2 here, and shade auto smooth. Let's see what happens if I make it 3. Okay, actually, I think I need to apply them first. So I'm just going to apply. Now I need to apply the skin modifier first, and then the subdivision, and then Control 2, then it works. So do that with all the fingers. Apply the skin modifiers, the subdivisions, and Control 2. And use this one, just GZ to bring it in. Go to the front and just G, bring it in there. And then 3. It's just, this is just tweaking now. Okay, and then this one. Apply the skin modifier, apply the subdivision. And then Control 2 for a new one, shade auto smooth. Same thing here. Control 2, shade auto smooth. Let's just bring this one up a bit, maybe this one as well. And then the last finger, we do the same here. And Control 2, shade auto smooth. Yes. I just want to move a bit over. See, there's not space for this little guy here. So I'm just going to take all of them, make them a bit smaller, and then G, X, just to move this one in. Let's see what we've got here. I think this is fine. We can actually, the thumb, I can actually work on the thumb a bit more, but I think for the purpose of this tutorial, I think we're fine with the thumb. It's looking cool. So let's move on to the legs, and then we're almost done. Okay, let's work on the legs. So the first thing I want like a little, I want something in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slash this, and then tab into edit mode. I'm going to delete this, delete the face. I can actually delete this face as well. X, delete that loop. And GZ. So I've got deleted that. So I'm just going to Alt select, Shift D, right click, RX 180, and then GZ, and then just bring it down there. And then 2, so Alt select this loop, right click, bridge edge loops, and then let's see if I tab out what this looks like. Okay, now it's way too long, but we can fix that. We just go into 1, press Z2, tab, press 1 here, and then just select this. We'll just select those ones first, and then GZ, just move this up, and then select all of these, GZ, select them, I think round about there. Okay, Z2 to make it solid again, and that's cool. That's our legs, but now we've lost our mirror, but that's fine. We just copied it over again. Control C, copy selected modifiers, mirror, and there we go. Okay, our robot's almost done now. So now Control 2, shade auto smooth. So let's work on the legs. So the first thing I want to do is I definitely want a loop here, And I'm going to bevel this with the selected Control B. So just inside there. And then the same here, loop here as well. And then Control B. And then I'm going to put a loop at the bottom here. And one at the top here. And let's see what else we need here. We need this definition in here. So I go Control. So with two alt selectors, Control B, bevel this. And then Alt E, extrude along normals, extrude it inwards. Alt E again. And then just tidy up the loops. Just add another loop here and one here. And one in the middle. Control R and then Control B. And that should be it for the legs. Let's just G, Z, bring them down a bit. So they sort of sit on top of those little balls there. Let's add this detail in as well. That's easy to do. So we just go 3 for face select. And then Alt E, extrude along normals, extrude it out. And then Control R for a loop cut here. Control R for one at the bottom. And then just add a loop here in the middle and it should be fine. Okay, that's fine. Now we just need to work on the feet and then we are done. Okay, I'm just going to right click and shade smooth here. And let's see what we can do here. We can go to Edge Select 2. Maybe let's see what happens if we bring this bring this down a bit. Actually, let's put another loop in here first. And then bring this one down. And then maybe let's make them nice and big. And Y. And then now for the bottom, all we're going to do is we're just going to select these three, Shift D, right click, P, separate by selection. And then now we can just tab into edit mode, A, E, and then AE again. So we get something like this. And then we can just Z, bring it up. So something like that. And then maybe just bring it down a bit. Something like this. Let's see. I think I know what the problem is here. I must tighten up this edge loop. So GG to slide and slide it down. Slide it up to there, and then this one we can just Z, bring it down again. Let's apply the subdivision and add some ridges to this. So how can we do that? We go to 2 and then we select this here. And we just select all of these. So just click on them and select them. So here's another trick. You just click here and then hold down Control and then click there, and then it selects everything up to there, and then hold down Control. That's just a bit quicker. And then select that one. No, not there. And then select maybe there, and then Control this one. Okay, I think that's enough. And then Control B to bevel them. Let's make it nice and chunky like that. And then E, extrude it once, and then E again, and then maybe E once more. And then Control 1 to add shade smooth. And now we've got these ridges on the boots. Maybe the last one, let's maybe add one more, if we can. Or let's maybe select this one. Control B. E. E again, and then just another E, and then that's it. And this is basically our character. Let's just hide the reference and just bask in the glory of our amazing character. Okay, the last thing I want to do before we call this robot done is we want to add this little panel here. So let's do that. We're going to use some slightly different techniques for this. So I'm just going to put our cursor here, shift right click, and then A, and then I'm going to add a plane RX90 to turn it, and then tab into edit mode, scale it down, go to the front view, scale it S, X, let's make it nice and big like that, S, Z, G, Z, bring it down, and E to extrude it, and then 2, just select the corners, Control B, and then before you release your mouse, just add more segments with your mouse wheel. Like that, and then tab out, and then shade auto smooth, and then now I want to add another modifier. I want to add a bevel modifier. So we're going to add 3 segments and then bring it down to maybe 0.1, and then go into tab, because I see this ugly line here, so maybe just inset it and it will get rid of that line. Okay, and then go to 3 and just R rotate it so it sort of fits on this. Just move it in. Maybe it's a bit too big now. Yes. So we just go into tab, select everything, S, Z, and then G, Z, maybe a bit more, GZ. And there we go with this guy. And then now we can just add like some, let's maybe just add a few buttons on this detail as well. So Shift A, add a circle, make it 12, RX90, make it 12, and then the circle's very big there, RX90, bring it down, S, and then G, Y to just bring it forward, tab into edit mode, and press 1, tab into edit, tab, and then press 1 so we can see the vertices, and then just press ES to scale it in like that, and then just another ES again, and just Control R, add a loop cut up here, select everything by pressing A, E, and E again, and then E again. and then Control 2, shade auto smooth, and let's make it smaller, S, and G, Control A, apply scale, we'll make it, what can we do here? Okay, let's go to 3 and just bring it over here, and press R, and then G, and then 1 again, and then G, and I'm just going to Control D, duplicate it, and put another one here, and we're almost done. And for the last bit, I'm just going to put this all these little lines here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Control A, maybe create a cube, and the cube is way too big, so just S, bring it way down, G, 3 to bring it out so we can see it, and 1 again, and then SX, SZ, SZ, I want it quite small, and then SX again, yes, that's perfect, and then go to 3, and then SY to bring it like that, or just rotate it up slightly, and then Control A, apply scale, and we can just copy this bevel, select that one, Control C, copy selected modifiers bevel, and then now for this last one I'm just going to add an array, and I'm going to set the array to the Z, I think it's the Z, yes, it's the Z, and I'm just going to make it 1.2, but it needs to go down, so it needs to go into the negative, so I'm going to say minus 1.2, and then I'm just going to up the count to maybe 7. Let's see what that looks like. Make it 8. And then we can just bring this GZ, bring this up a bit, and maybe just bring it in, and go to this one, just solo it here, select this edge, and then S just to scale it in here, and then EY to bring it out, and then ES, so I'm going to create this button and just press F to fill it. Okay, and then now I'm going to actually delete this one and just Shift D, G, X, bring this one over again. Okay, so that is basically our robot. And this is what it looks like. This is the final result. Now we just need to add some materials in that, and it's going to be lots of fun.